Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar entitled The Vermont Bucket List. My name is Asa Waterworth, and I'm one of the admissions counselors here at Middlebury College. And thanks so much for joining us today. I'm from Vermont, I love Vermont, and those are two of the reasons why I'm really excited to be hosting this webinar tonight. Before we get started, there's a couple of important things I'd like to acknowledge. I wanted to take a moment to note and honor the fact that Middlebury College sits upon land that belonged to members of the Abenaki Nation. I'd like to denounce the inexcusable violence towards Black individuals, particularly at the hands of police, as well as violence towards those who support the Black Lives Matter movement across the country. As we reckon with our nation's history, Middlebury College acknowledges that we, as an institution and as a community, have many steps left to take and make in our journey towards active anti-racism. Lastly, we are here virtually today due to the COVID-19 pandemic, which is disproportionately affecting communities of color. We know that the pandemic has drastically changed your college search process. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today, and please know that we're here to support you in whatever ways we can. So let's get started. We're going to go one by one, and I have a couple of questions to get us started, so we'll introduce all of these amazing student panelists and learn a little bit more about what's on their Vermont bucket list. So can we start with Emily?
Hi everyone, my name is Emily Ballou. I am a senior here at Middlebury as well as a senior fellow in the admissions office. Most importantly, I am from Vermont. I'm from a tiny town called South Royalton, so welcome to your introduction to our state if you haven't visited here yet.
And what do you study, Emily?
I am a double major in American Studies and Theater.
Great. And as a Vermonter, what's something you think should be on everyone's Vermont bucket list?
Something that I think everyone should definitely do when they come to Vermont is experience a sugar shack. So if you don't know what that is, that's where maple syrup is made. It's typically done in the winter months or in early spring, and you go, they take all the sap, lots of different areas around here, different sugar shacks. They let you do tours there, and then if you're lucky enough, they give you some fresh maple syrup at the end, or maybe even some maple cream on a donut.
And it takes 40 gallons of sap to make just 1 gallon of syrup. Fun fact. Next, can we go to Norma?
Hi, my name is Norma Leyva. I'm currently a junior and I study film and studio art, and I'm from Dallas, Texas.
So Norma, if a friend from Texas came to visit you here, what's the first Vermonty thing that you'd want to do with them or that you'd want to show them?
The first thing I'd probably recommend is going to the Abbey Pond Trail. It's this hike you can do. It's really beautiful around fall time, and at the end there's this beautiful lake you can sit by and have a picnic at. And it's very different from Texas, so I would say that's a really nice experience to have before it gets really cold.
Is that close to campus?
Yeah, it's a short drive from campus, and you can do it with friends or on your own. It's beautiful.
Cool. Next, could we go to Simon?
Hi everybody, my name is Simon Jenkins. I'm a junior econ major from West Orange, New Jersey.
And what's your absolute favorite thing to do in the town of Middlebury?
Yeah, I think my answer is a little bit more on the abstract side. So I would say getting to interact and talk with the local community members. Just like everybody in Middlebury is so nice. Like I mentioned, I'm from New Jersey. Not that people there are mean, but it's a different flavor you get in Vermont. So just getting out whenever you can, meeting people, talking to people, and everybody here kind of loves engaging with college students.
And now, Alex and Madison and Claire, you've all played roles in planning mid-view orientation trips, which help other students start checking things off their Vermont bucket list the moment they get to campus. So there's 3 categories of these trips. There's wilderness exploration, community engagement, and Vermont exploration. So Alex, could we start with having you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about the wilderness exploration mid-view trips?
Yeah, sure. My name is Alex Jem. I'm a senior from Westchester, New York, studying molecular biology and biochemistry on the pre-med track and minoring in French. And the wilderness exploration trips are any kind of outdoorsy activity that you'd want to do during orientation. There's tons of camping trips that go out for like a 2-night overnight camping trip. There's canoeing trips, kayaking, rock climbing, day hiking, all kinds of fun outdoor activities so people can get a chance to check out the long trail or go to that nearby Adirondacks in New York or just have fun outside.
And what's your favorite thing to do outside in Vermont?
I really love in this wintertime going to the Middlebury College-owned Snow Bowl, which is the mountain just up the road. I spend a lot of my winter up there.
And if someone comes to Vermont and they've never skied or snowboarded before, is it easy to learn? How can they do that?
Absolutely, great question.
I know you're an expert, so I'd love to hear a
I
little
am
more.
actually a snowboard instructor. There's a bunch of students who are instructors up at the bowl, and there's free lessons and free rental equipment and a shuttle that'll get you up there. So even if you've never seen snow before, which is actually a lot of the people that I work with, it's really fun to get outside and to roll around in the snow and get down the mountain.
Great. And before we keep going, I totally forgot to mention the point of this is that you can ask questions and these folks will answer them. So there's the Q&A feature on the bottom of your Zoom screen. So feel free at any time to type questions in there and we'll live answer them as we go. But back to Midview Trips. Madison, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about the community engagement opportunities for Midview Trips?
Yeah, definitely. Hi, I'm Madison. I'm a senior. I'm from Buffalo, New York, and I study sociology and minor in education studies. So yeah, last summer I helped to organize the community engagement trips, which are a smaller subset of video trips that allow you to go out into the local community and do lots of community engagement, volunteer type of work according to your interests. So we have a bunch of different categories of those trips, and it's a really good way to sort of get out into the Middlebury community and get to know the town.
And what's your favorite one that you've helped to plan or that you've gone on?
So I actually did go on my first year. I went on the Immigration in Vermont's Diverse Communities trip, and that was really cool for me. I got to meet a lot of the farm worker community in Vermont and learn about the dairy industry and Ben and Jerry's and all of that stuff. So I had a lot of fun participating in that trip and then also planning it last summer. So that would probably be my favorite one.
Cool. And Claire, could you tell us more about Vermont Exploration?
Yeah, I'm Claire Martins. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I'm a senior as well. Last summer, alongside Maddie, I planned the Vermont Exploration trips. And so basically they are like a wide range of interests. There's a bike trip. There's a trip that you do trail work on local trails around Middlebury or Vermont. There's one where it's called Food Systems, and you go to, there's a couple different small farms that you spend the night at, and like it's a bit more campy, and you get to go to this cheese where they make cheese at this farm, which is cool. Yeah, there's honestly like so many different trips in the VE category, just because it's there's just so many different interests and niches that like, and so many opportunities in Vermont. So there's like a photography trip I could go on, but yeah, so that's the Vermont Exploration trips, I guess. They're just really, usually everyone sleeps at Breadloaf campus, which is Middlebury's, is kind of by the Snow Bowl. And so it doesn't have that outdoor aspect as much because you get to sleep inside, which is really nice. But yeah. Oh, I also study archaeology. Sorry.
And maybe could we briefly go around, and if you haven't really already shared your kind of top bucket list item, could you share that? I think I'll start, even though no one asked me, but I think one thing that everyone should do, particularly if you get the opportunity to spend a summer in Vermont, which a lot of students get to do if they do research on campus or work a job on campus over the summer, is go to Bread and Puppet Theater. It's this really amazing political theater company up in the Northeast Kingdom, which is a really magical, wild part of Vermont. And it's really an experience that is unlike any other. Someone else?
I would add to that, not necessarily a specific thing to do, but the farmers markets in Vermont are amazing. There's no place better to get the freshest food. You can go to any little farm stand or farmer's market and get some corn that was picked that morning, or any other fresh vegetable. You can get some really nice homemade jams and jellies at a lot of these things, and they're located all around the state. And there's one right here in Middlebury as well.
One of my favorite, because I got to spend a summer here last summer, one of my favorite things to do is to go swimming in one of like there are some mountain rivers that we have, and that's probably the best thing that we could do. I don't know, that's just one of my favorite things. And every time someone visits, that's always like the first place I bring them to. It's just like the water's so beautiful and clear.
So for me, I would say something that I really love to do occasionally is go to Burlington, and there's this cute little chocolate shop called Lake Champlain Chocolates on Church Street, which is like Burlington's iconic street. And it's just like, if you're into chocolate or like ice cream, like they have it all. It's just like a cute little magical cove on Church Street, and I love going there like once a year.
Simon, Norma, Alex, anything to add?
I was going to kind of talk about what Claire talked about. Like, one of my earliest memories was packing at one of my friend's cars and driving to a swimming hole, and spending hours there, like on my first weekend at Middlebury.
Do you have a favorite one? Did you go to the Gorge? I feel like that's kind of pretty close.
Into the Gorge. I'd say Bristol Falls is probably my favorite, but it's pretty popular, so you got to get there. It's some good times.
Something I'd say is probably visit the Knoll. I'm sure everyone that goes to Middlebury has done at some point, but if you can, try to get some pizza at the Knoll at the beginning of the semester. It's really good, and it's just so beautiful there too.
And what is the Knoll?
The Knoll is Middlebury's organic garden. It's a bit of a walk from campus, but not too bad, and it feels nice enough that you feel separated from campus, busy life, but still feel connected to everyone in the community.
And I'll just add, seeing a sunrise. I know not everybody's a morning person, but it's so worth it to watch the sun come up over the Green Mountains, which is the mountain range just off of campus, and it's just really beautiful.
Those are all great things. I'm going to flash a slide for a second of all these folks' contact information. Can you see that? I hope so. And then we're going to move